What's good, people? We're rolling episode 44. Me, Rory Spooner, James Vec, Victory and Vices podcast. Apologies we weren't here last week, scheduling conflicts, where this lad beside me had, was it an Ironman triathlon?
Without going into too much detail, it was just
a little something.
Just a bit of a fitness competition that me and some friends were at. So
tell them what you did, bro. Explain.
Yeah, it was just something called Tribal Clash. A bit of everything. It was 6 of us in a team, so like running, swimming, lifting heavy objects, moving stuff, a lot of teamwork. Like fairly big competition. So
yeah, no, you did good.
We did pretty well. So
yeah.
Basically when I got back, I was completely out of it.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Yeah.
I had the Lampard video in the chamber as well. So if you haven't seen it, go see it. It's a really good watch, easy listen, as is all of our stuff. So don't neglect that either. With the video today, we're going to go for some transfer stuff again. There's not a huge amount to talk about in terms of transfers, but there's a few tidbits here and there. So we got the guts, the glory, and the whole motherfucking story. That's all right. All right, cool. We'll kick off with some Welsh football, which is unusual considering two Welsh guys predominantly talk about English stuff.
Yeah, it's true.
Is he our footballing god, Gareth Bale, in Wales? Is he that guy now?
I mean, apart from Ryan Giggs, then he's probably going to go down as the greatest player in Welsh history.
There's Giggs, there's John Charles, and then there's I won't put him in Russian.
No,
he'd top 5.
Yeah,
I won't put him in it.
In terms of what he's achieved as well,
he's up there. Bale is up there. He's
with Wales and
there.
with his club. So yeah, you would call him that.
Well, this is the thing about Gareth Bale. His next move, he needs to make his best move, because Gareth Bale is the wrong side of 30, and when you're the wrong side of 30, football, whilst it becomes about money and that final contract, it's also about cementing your legacy and having that one final hurrah where people go, what a guy.
Yeah.
What a guy. So, Bale is on the outs at Madrid. For some reason, Zidane fucking hates him, right? I don't understand the issue. I think, from what Zidane said, Zidane wanted to keep Ronaldo and sell Bale.
Yeah.
Obviously, the board at the time sold Ronaldo and
yeah.
kept Bale. So it's a little more personal between Zidane and the board, proving a point, I think. But I want your opinion on it. With Bale, where is his next move?
I think he actually has options. And just to add to what you said, I really don't like the way that Zidane has gone about this whole situation.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one thing having an opinion on it behind closed doors. He could take Gareth Bale into his office and he can say X, Y, and Z, right?
I don't think Bale speaks Spanish yet either, so I don't think he'll understand.
Yeah, I mean, Zidane can meet him halfway, right? And, his English isn't all that bad, so you can pull him into his office and he can say whatever he likes. He can say, I don't want you on my team, I don't rate you. He can say all these things. I want you out of the club. We're going to be moving you on, okay? It's another thing to. You saw his statement, what he said. After one of the games, he literally said
it was harsh.
Yeah, in so many words, it was he should be moving soon. We can't wait for him to move on.
It was a brutal statement, man. When you look at it,
very brutal.
When you look at it in depth, like you just said, we're looking forward to. I can't remember the exact quote, but when I saw it, I think everyone felt the same. Like,
it pretty much said like the sooner you move on, the better.
Yeah.
As if like he's been that bad to the club. I mean, it seems like people are forgetting, or maybe not people forgetting, Zidane and the people behind the scenes at Madrid are forgetting that they haven't won a Champions League since 2002 before he came in, and they won 4 when he came in.
Bale's... there's not much else for him to do at Madrid, I don't think.
He single-handedly turned one of those Champions League games on its head against Liverpool and scored one of the best goals I've ever seen.
It's you know what? The irony that it's between Bale and Zidane for best Champions League goal of all time.
And also, we forget when they beat Atletico Madrid 4-1, when it was just 1-1, and it was Bale that scored the important goal to put them 2-1 up. They ran away with it in extra time, I think it was.
Yeah.
But, it's not even those moments. You think of the moment where he ran an extra 50 metres around the touchline to beat, Marco Bartra?
Oh, that was some moment, that was.
And we got his stats here. I mentioned you the stats before.
Yeah, bring them up, bro. Bring them up.
I just want to put out there, first of all, that I'm about to give you some stats, if you haven't already seen them, between or Zinedine Zidane in comparison to Gareth Bale. What I'm going to say, first of all, is I'm not in any way saying that Gareth Bale is a better footballer than Zidane, okay?
It's just a comparison.
They're different players anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not a comparison. So in terms of games, so they've played a very similar amount of games. Zidane 227, Bale 2-3-1, so pretty much identical.
Yeah.
Then you've got Zidane scored 49 goals and 66 assists, and Gareth Bale scored 102 goals with 65 assists.
Okay.
Clearly better. Yes, you could then say that perhaps Bale plays in a different part of the pitch, where he might be in those positions to score more goals, right? Whatever.
Very true.
Trophies won. Zidane 6, Gareth Bale 13.
And Zidane, let's make a point, because again, it's not an accurate comparison as Vecchi says, but Zidane was a part of a Galactico side with R9, Beckham, Raul, Figo, Roberto Carlos, Claude Makélélé, Guti, by the way, probably the most underrated footballer of all time. And as you say,
Casillas, that 1 to, you could name that side 1 to 11, and it was pretty much a Galactico team.
I'm not sure Fernando Hierro was in that side. Maybe I was wrong.
Maybe, and then Beckham obviously came in to that as well. So it's not, you couldn't even point out that this side Madrid was a visibly better side than one before it, because that
Ronaldo aside, I mean,
that Madrid side that Zidane was a part of is arguably one of the most iconic sides in world football history.
It might be the most iconic side.
So when you put that into perspective, right? So not comparing the two players' abilities exactly, but the way that they're speaking about him and the way that they're treating him, and how brutal they are with, they just want to move him on. It seems like they forget what he's given that club. And yes, his injury record's not been great the last few years. There's been a lot of people saying that he hasn't made the effort to learn the language, and he hasn't exactly settled too well there.
His nickname, by the way, the golfer. Did you know that?
No.
So there was a thing where Courtois came out, and he was talking about how Gareth Bale went to bed. In Spain, culturally, they go for, I think it's coffee or food quite late. So they will go for food maybe around 11 o'clock, maybe midnight.
Okay.
Excuse my voice. Anyway, so Bale opted out. He was like the only player that didn't do it. He's like, I'd rather just go to bed. Didn't go down well, because ultimately they want you to be a part of the team. They're thinking, why is this guy on the outside? And that was his nickname in the press with Spain, because he's forever golfing. Ironically, after, I think it was one of the Zidane quotes, more recently he put up a picture of him golfing to prove a point, tit for tat, which I thought was actually quite sassy. But look, they fully don't rate Gareth Bale in Spain.
And do you know what? I appreciate what you've mentioned there. When you move to a new club, especially in a new country with a new culture, it is normally the done thing to try and fit in, be a part of it. The fans want to see it, the players want to see it, the club wants to see it. I appreciate that, but if you're delivering on the pitch to the extent that he was, then he should be allowed to kind of not do what he wants, but he should be given a little bit of wiggle room on those sort of things. A bit of
license.
Exactly.
I got you.
He's not from this part of the world. He's Welsh. They don't do that shit back in Wales.
Look, they do that shit back in Wales, but they ain't drinking what they were drinking
exactly.
in Madrid. Let me tell
so bringing it back round, I think it's very poor treatment. Where do I see his next move? Hopefully not China, because he's been offered £1 million a week contract in China.
Okay, so to riddle me this, right, because you touched upon a good point there. Where do you think his next move will be, and where do you want his next move to be?
I don't think he'll go to China, because if Gareth Bale still believes in himself as an elite footballer, which you should do, even at 30, he should still be believing that he's got 3 or 4 top years left to give. Then China's not the place for you. If he was to go to China, I would be shocked, and you're pretty much writing off the rest of your career just for money. And let's be honest, he's not short of money. I'm sure I read somewhere he's on like £400,000, £500,000, £600,000 a week or equivalent in Madrid anyway. So it's not like, okay, yes, he'd be going for a pay rise, but he doesn't need it, does he, at all? No. So I don't think he'll go to China. He could go back to Spurs. He could go to Bayern Munich. He could probably go to PSG, and he could probably, I don't know if we would want him, but he could go to United in terms of financially, because it's back in the Premier League. They could pay him the type of wages, but it could turn out like another Sanchez situation, right?
Okay, yeah, I got you.
So where do I want him to go? Where do I think he'll go?
Both.
I want him to go to Bayern Munich.
Okay.
Because they need wingers. Because Robin and Ribery are both retired now. Or I think Robin's definitely gone. Is Ribery on?
Yeah, no, they're both gone.
They're both gone, right? And that's a nice league. It's good football there. Bayern Munich are a good side, and they've got good fans.
They do indeed. Shout out to Bayern Munich.
And and we spoke about it in the past. German football is great. It's a great country for football.
Great culture,
yeah, and he'll get a decent wage. He's probably likely to be competitive in the Champions League. I think that's a great move for him. I don't know. I think he could end up. He ain't going to United. He isn't going to United. I think he could end up at PSG. You know.
Well. I am in agreement with PSG. In a sense, I think that's the only place he can go.
Because they just throw cash around like it's nobody's business.
You have a Neymar situation where he's desperate to get out. Mm-hmm. Barca want to buy him. I don't think they can afford him. Madrid would have to offer a huge sum of money plus Bale. We're talking the best part of 100+ million. So, in terms of where he'll go, I would like it to be PSG. The league, I think, would suit him. It's quite low pace. It's for a man who suffers with a lot of injuries, I think that type of league would benefit his hamstrings, his entire body, right? And basically allow him to stay fresh for Champions League games, and hopefully he could maintain his body over the course of a season where he could take PSG to a major title, right? Because the French league's not a major title. So if you said to me if I could pick somewhere, I go, okay, a Bale and Neymar swap with a bit of cash involved, terrific.
Yeah,
that's what I would like. Now, where do I think he will go? This is where I think he's going to go. I think Bale is going to China. I can see it all over. You hit the nail on the head. I was thinking this earlier, right? I wanted to find a way to articulate it, because you've articulated it very well. Does he have that fire in his stomach to be a top player? Or does he just want to go for the money? Now, I took a look at some of the Chinese wages that are out there, and they are fucking... extravagant is not even the word, right?
Yeah.
Like, bear in mind now that, you know who the top earner in China is?
Ooh.
It is, I'll tell you, it's Ezequiel Lavezzi.
Lavezzi, okay.
Lavezzi, I don't know how you pronounce my man's name. He is on £798,000 a week, right? Now, Gareth Bale would blow that out of the water. Bale is taking a million home a week, minimum, right? So, when I look at that for a guy who has nothing to prove anymore, because he doesn't. I mean, look. I mean, there's haters going to hate, right? They're going to be like, oh, Gareth Bale, he didn't do this, he didn't do that. Gareth Bale has nothing to prove to anyone. He has gone to Madrid, the pinnacle.
Won everything,
right?
Yeah.
And he's won it in style as well. It's not like he fluked it. He won it in style. So in his heart, does he have anything to prove to anybody?
No, I understand what you're saying.
And that's exactly the point you touched upon. He has nothing to prove anymore. So I look at that and I think to myself, one of the main reasons he won't leave Madrid is because of the money.
Yeah. Let me give you a scenario, right? So you talk about the amount of money involved in going to China, right? So it's £1 million a week versus
that's 52 million a year minimum, right?
That's £1 million a week versus maybe half that Madrid, £500,000 a week, let's say. Now for me, if I'm Gareth Bale, taking everything into consideration, right? You look at the pros and cons. Yes, he's probably going to double his wage, right? But he's already on an astronomical amount of money. Now, when you have that amount of money, you also have to add in, we'll double your wages, but also you've got to move to China. You've got to live in China. No fucker wants to live in China.
Nobody wants to live in China.
Reece will tell you, he's travelled the world. He's been to God knows how many countries, and he will tell you it either is the worst or one of the worst countries that he went to. He did not enjoy it. He said it was a very, very difficult place to live and immerse with. The language
is difficult.
The culture,
yeah.
And for me, if I'm on £500,000 a week, and you're offering £1 million a week, but I've got to put up with all that shit, I could be in Spain or Germany or somewhere a lot more easier to deal with and get used to the culture and live and closer to home. I'm not moving. It's like me being on £30,000 a year and being really comfy, like being really happy with my surroundings and everything I'm doing, and you offer me to double it to go to Saudi Arabia or just.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
It's like I understand if you're like someone in the Premier League and you're on like 30-40 grand a week. Yeah, like Graziano Pella, and then China come in and say we'll give you £300,000-400,000 a week. That's a little different.
Okay, yeah.
But in Bale's situation, I don't see the appeal.
Do you know what you have to take into account though? One is that he may be backed into a corner and has nowhere else to go. In a sense that PSG may go, we don't want him.
Yeah.
And then Bayern Munich go, but we're not paying his wages. And then United go, we don't really need him now, so thanks but no thanks. And then, all these other clubs going, we kind of don't really need him. So he's he is a very beloved football player. Yeah. He's just, there's no room for him anywhere.
In that scenario, then obviously the situation changes a little bit, because when you have no options and you have to be moved on, then all of a sudden, when that's your only option, and then it's financially that much better, then you kind of look at the positives then. But if he does have PSG, United, or Bayern Munich, say 3 options, I would be shocked if he took China off one of those 3.
I think the issue he has moving forward is that he has no options. I genuinely think that's the case.
And do you really believe someone of his level doesn't have any options?
Bro, it's not the fact that we know he's at a certain level, but you can't put a square peg into a round hole. You can't just take him for the sake of taking him. Bayern will not, and you got to understand, ego plays a part in this as well. When you're earning the type of money he's earning, he is not going to take a pay cut to the point where he'll lose 400k a week. Because Bayern, right, will not go beyond, let's say, 200k a week. So if you're earning 600k a week or 500k a week, are you going to drop 300k a week to go there?
Well, that means it's United or PSG.
If they haven't got room for him, what do you do?
I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that he isn't going to China.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say he is going to China.
Okay.
We will come back and revisit this.
We'll put that in a poll, should we?
We will. We'll put this in a Twitter poll after this podcast is done. Should Bale go to China, yay or nay? Please vote. By the time this comes out, the poll will be over anyway. But fuck it, if you follow us, you'll see it.
Yeah,
you'll know. But yeah, Gareth Bale, we want your opinion on him. Let us know. Should he go to China? Should he go to PSG? Should he go to Manchester United? Should he go to Spurs, PSG?
Or anyone else?
Or anyone else in between. Do let us know. But that's Gareth Bale. That's the first part of our little Welsh football segment. Now, part 2. Ethan Ampadu.
Okay.
One of the world's best young football players. Without a shadow of a doubt. He is absolutely phenomenal. I love Ethan Ampadu. I remember a thing about Sir Alex Ferguson seeing him when he was about 13, wanting to sign him, and he didn't get a chance to sign him, or maybe he's younger than that. And I just remember thinking, God, if he signed for United, he'd be an absolute superstar. He's gone to Leipzig, or Leipzig, depending on how you pronounce it. Red Bull.
Yeah.
Who do you reckon encouraged that move? Because I'm convinced, right, that Ampadu would have had ample Premier League offers, good Championship offers as well. What made him look at Germany and go, you know what, that's the move for me?
Do you know what it is, right? And I think it's the Jadon Sancho and the Reece Nelson effect.
Do you think?
100%.
They've kind of what's the word I'm looking for? They blazed a trail. So
yeah, because what they've done is not the norm, them 2 players.
Yeah.
And
well, now it's becoming more of the norm.
Yeah, and I touched upon it just now. We said about the German football culture, and how it's a very good country to go and play football in. Because, and we've said this in previous episodes, that it's not always all about the money. The financial side of it doesn't take the front seat. It's the fans, it's the country, it's the league, it's the kind of the fair play side of it.
Mm-hmm.
And young players out there, they get chances.
They do, yeah. They get a lot of... they're very high-profile young players compared to being in the UK as well.
But it's almost
sounds weird.
Yeah, it's almost like the pressure goes off them, because someone like Ampadu or even other young players can go to the Championship, and because they're still in the spotlight in England, they're still expected. There's still a level of expectation.
Yeah.
Whereas,
and that dies down a bit in Germany, yeah.
Yeah, and it's sort of... Unless you're, big football fans like obviously like we are, and some other people are, because most people would be lying if they say that they follow like continental football. We don't all watch Serie A games and Bundesliga games all the time. We see highlights, we see things on social media. Every once in a while, certain games get on TV.
Yeah.
So you see bits here and there, but we don't watch to the extent that we watch Premier League football.
No, that's very true.
So because those eyes aren't on those players, I feel they're allowed to flourish. And you look how well Jadon Sancho's done. He's the shining example. Obviously, Reece Nelson, he sort of shot out like a cannon last season, and he did die off a little bit, but he still had a good season.
Do you know what? He did very well. I was actually looking at examples because I knew we were going to talk about this.
Yeah.
Sancho is the main example. Reece Nelson did very well. I think Emil Smith-Rowe may have gone to Germany with Arsenal as well. I think he did quite well. The one that really goes under the radar, and these types of moves, they take cojones, right? You've got to have some big balls to be an 18-year-old and go, I'm going to a new country to live, to become more well-rounded, to learn a new culture. I'm going to essentially take a wage cut because I could be earning more elsewhere, but I'm going to embrace the opportunity I have. I like that. I think that's good.
It's thinking big picture, though, isn't it?
Thinking bigger picture. Yeah. So, the example I use, and not a lot of people know about him because I watched him play in the England. I think it's when they won the Under-17 World Cup. And he was in the team with Phil Foden, Angel Gomez, Jadon Sancho, Ryan Brewster, Morgan Gibbs-White, was Jonathan Panzo. Jonathan Panzo's at Chelsea in the youth team. He was doing okay. He could have waited at Chelsea for his turn, but he took the step to go and play for Monaco, and now he's flourishing in Monaco. Yeah. So it's plenty of opportunity.
I've spent a bit of time in Germany, more than the average person.
You have, you've done it way more than the average person. Actually,
it's a nice country. I haven't been to all of it, but I've seen quite a few games now in Germany, and the fans don't get on the players' backs like they do over here. They allow them time to settle. They're aware of the talent. And they know what can come of it, and they just let it happen. Like Jadon Sancho, he just sort of worked his way into the team. He wasn't perfect, and he was just allowed to do his thing.
Do you know what I like about Sancho? Forgive my cough again, I do apologise. He has this picture in his head of how his career should pan out. So to leave Guardiola and Man City is a ballsy step. To have a season like he had at Dortmund is a ballsy step. To then have that season and his stock's as high as it's ever been, and then to look at Manchester United and go, I'm not joining you. Yeah. There's no amount of money that can make me go into the Europa League. Now, I find it strange when people say, oh, you know what, I'm going to stay at this club for Champions League football, because a lot of these clubs, they won't get past the quarterfinals anyway. So I don't know how beneficial it is staying at a club like Dortmund for quote-unquote Champions League football, because the likelihood is they're not going to win it. You'll have a couple of group games and maybe one or two big games, right? But they're not all that significant. I do admire the fact, though, that he didn't go for the money, because United would have thrown the bank at him.
100%.
They would have thrown... Ed Woodward, right? Bro, he would be ringing whoever he rings about overdraft limits, and he'd be like, look, give me what you've got. I want him in the side. And he might do that next season, right? Depending on what happens. But I admire the ballsiness of it.
Yeah.
I do.
If I was a young player now, a talented young player, obviously we know I'm not. But if I was...
Well, you're more talented and younger than me. Like, if you're out of that picture, bro, well, the frame isn't around me, let me tell you.
But if I was in that situation, then seeing Sancho and Nelson, Panzo, other examples like that, it would give me... sort of hope.
huge initiative.
And what have you got to lose? It doesn't go to plan, they loan you back.
Well, I mean, do you know what? You're right. I mean, ultimately, it's like this. You spend 1 or 2 years abroad, you get to learn a new language, a new culture. If it doesn't work out, you're still only 20, 21, and you can go with a championship side or a club lower in the Premier League and go from there.
All you can do is win.
But yeah, Ethan Ampadu, do you reckon that'll turn out to be a good move for him?
Why not?
I'm interested to see how he does. Do you know, I will be tuning in to more Bundesliga games next season, probably than ever before, because of players like Sancho and Ampadu. So yeah, I'm very interested to see.
It would not surprise me in the slightest to see him do really well there.
Okay, cool. Right, I'm glad we got that segment out the way. All right, cool. What we're going to do now, before we go to an interval, because we're going to go into it in a little bit of depth, is rate the current transfer window. Now, we're going with the top 6. We can't go with everyone because it'll take too long.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do different bits in a different video.
Yeah.
Out of 10, or you can give a grade A, B, C, whatever is applicable to you. We're going to see what you think so far about each of the top 6. I'm going to start with Manchester City. Out of 10, what would you give their transfer window so far?
10 being superb.
10 being superb, 1 being dog shit.
6.
Okay.
My reason for that is they didn't need all that much. Man City, they did you could argue there's 1 or 2 little holes they need to fill, but they won 4 trophies, so it's not like they need a heck of a lot.
Okay.
I'm intrigued with Rodri, because I think he could be a big player.
He could have come up in our Welsh football segment as well, because Rodri is the most Welsh name for a Spanish holding midfielder I have ever heard in my life.
I'd give it a 6, because I feel like they've got another big signing in them.
They definitely have another bullet in the chamber.
Yeah, I mean, they could do with another fullback.
Well, they got Angelino.
Yeah, but
he didn't really impress in pre-season. He was good last season. He didn't do that great so far.
When you're near perfect, There's not much that you can do, right? You can strengthen in one or two places, which is what they need. Fernandinho is potentially on his way out. They've signed a replacement. Guardiola sees him as a long-term replacement. That remains to be seen how that works out. But they've spent big money. He's their record signing, and he could turn out to be a gem.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I think maybe 1-2 signings max, and depending on who they are, could be like a 9 or a 10. But at the moment they're sitting, it's okay. It's been an okay window for them.
I would give I would give it a 5.
Yeah.
Only because I do think it's difficult, right? Because Man City need to replace Vincent Kompany, but there is no one to replace him with.
Mm-hmm.
De Ligt isn't the right option for them, and they would never deal with Mino Raiola anyway. I don't think Harry Maguire is the right option for them because he plays in the same position as Laporte anyway, right? So Maguire's out the window. And then you look at Ruben Dias and you think, okay, Ruben Dias could do a job, but so can John Stones and Otamendi. They're essentially the same player as Ruben Dias. He doesn't really offer anything they don't offer. And then you look at Issa Diop, and again you go, okay, Issa Diop doesn't have their experience. He doesn't offer what they offer. So replacing Kompany, I don't even know where they begin to start. That's about the one thing they may miss.
Defensively, they can make a few tweaks. They also want to be careful because they've got rid of Delph. And they don't really have much of an English contingent in that squad. And I'm sure
I forgot Delph had gone, actually, yeah.
He's gone to Everton, which is not a bad move. But I mentioned it on a previous episode. Clubs like Man City, who don't have much English players, need to be careful, and they need to have a certain amount because their squad number, how many they can have, shrinks in certain competitions. Because if they don't have enough English players, then they have to replace them with foreign players, and then there's a cap on that, right? Mm-hmm. So they've let him go. So they could have some defensive tweaks, but City could go out and win the league next season and reach a Champions League final, and then most people say, well, they didn't really need much,
That's very
true. They could go and do the
Yeah.
double, and then we could have given them a 5, but then someone could say, well, it was a 10 because they replaced what they need to replace, So
okay,
it's a team that doesn't need much, so you're nitpicking, and you're really.
I am to a degree.
Yeah.
So you're going 6, I'm going 5.
Yeah.
Okay, Liverpool. Now, Liverpool don't need an awful lot. I was under the impression that if there was one side that could go without signing a player, it would be Liverpool. Again, only really need a few tweaks. They don't need an awful lot. Brewster will come in next season and do well.
What they actually signed?
They signed.
There's no one of note, is there?
The Dutch centre half. He looks like. I don't know. Like he just looks like the Shermanator off American Pie. That's what he looks like. Just a little taller and more athletic. But other than him, they haven't really signed anybody. And
Sepp van der Berg.
Apparently he's a very good prospect as well, so I'm sure Liverpool fans will be interested in seeing him. But again, I mean, what would you give their transfer window?
4, 3 or 4.
I'd be liable to give it a 4, only because I do think they need a backup left back for Robinson.
Because you said there that out of any club that may not need to sign anyone, it would be Liverpool. Yet it's a different one. I don't want to get too much in the debate of saying did they have a not as good a season as City, because that's a difficult argument, right? Because of the trophies that they won.
True.
But City were better over the whole course of the season, and they won more trophies, so their squad stood better. Yeah. So it would, for me, it would be City that needed less players than Liverpool, and so far, he's a prospect. He's 17 years old. And he could.
He's definitely not one for the now.
Yeah, and it's.
Do you know what I mean?
They do still lack Liverpool a little bit. Like they, obviously, when Salah and Mane are on form and Firmino, they're great. They still lack that player in behind, like a Coutinho they used to have, that can unlock the door. Because they've got good midfielders in terms of like Wijnaldum, Keita on his day. Like those types of midfielders, but they haven't got that midfielder to play in between the lines, which I think they're missing.
Okay, I got you.
So maybe it could be a Coutinho, because the way things are going to Barcelona, should Neymar move,
his name has come up.
Things can happen. They've mentioned Fekir in the past. So right now, I still think if they want to really try and guarantee that they've got a brilliant shot at the league next year, then they need to sign that type of player.
Okay.
And maybe, like you said, reinforcements at full back, left back.
Yeah, I can.
So
maybe not. We'll see. I mean, I think they've got quite a good bit in the tank, so I would give them. I'd probably give them a 4 as well. Actually, yeah. I'm with you on that. I think there's room for improvement.
There's a big signing in there. I think they can still make a big signing.
I don't know if they need a big signing. They need a smart signing.
Yeah, or quality signing.
A smart signing, someone you can pick up and develop, but is already at a decent level. I'm sure they're out there. Like, it's just a case of if Klopp decides to go for it or not. We'll go to a quick interval. We'll come back right after the interval. We will have the rest of the top 6 and the other talking points me and Becky have picked out. So make sure you add us up on social media platforms that you're going to see next, and we will be back shortly. Okay, we're back. V&V podcast, going over our transfer window. What's the word I'm looking for? Grades, scoring, analysis.
Yes.
Okay, so Chelsea now. Chelsea. Yeah. Okay, Chelsea is. We're just being polite, right? So Chelsea are on a transfer ban, but they did sign Kovacic
permanently.
And Pulisic. Should we just give them a 1?
Yeah, it is the lowest a 1. Well, no, okay, we'll give them a 1 instead of a 0 because, yeah, both those players were technically already there.
Yeah.
So they
didn't lose them, which is great.
They've nailed those 2 down, which is decent, but they've confirmed that Morata has gone permanently. What's the Higuain situation? Has he now gone?
He's back at Juve, yeah.
He's gone. That's 2 strikers you've let go.
He played against Spurs yesterday, actually, for Juve, yeah.
So you've let 2 strikers go. Yeah, they weren't the greatest quality, but they're still 2 strikers.
True.
They've let Eddie Hazard go, which we know of already.
Rest in peace, Eddie Hazard, yeah.
And there's talks that Willian could be going as well, so...
Yeah.
Among others, so... yes, Lampard has got some bright talent in there somewhere if he uses it, if Hudson-Odoi stays and things like that. It depends what happens, but if I could give him a 0, I would.
Well, do you know what we'll do? We won't rate Chelsea right now, but you can go and watch the Frank Lampard video I put out, and you can check that out. So if you go onto our videos, it's called Frank Lampard and Chelsea, a match made in heaven in profile. And you can check that out.
Do that.
Okay, so we'll draw a line under Chelsea. Mm-hmm. Tottenham Hotspur. Now, Spurs are doing bits. They are doing bits. Now, I was on Twitter earlier on, and some of you who are friendly with me in real life will know I haven't had a phone for the past a week or so. And I've been out of contact with everyone, and I only get to see shit when I come home. So I went home, turned on the laptop, and what do I see? Lo Celso on his way to Spurs.
Is that confirmed?
Essentially, yeah, it's not confirmed, but Nabil Fekir is moving to Real Betis for half the fee that Liverpool were offering last year. So, quick shout out to the Liverpool doctor as well for finding whatever the fuck was wrong with Fekir's knee, because Fekir must have just walked in like a leg brace in a wheelchair, and the Liverpool doctor went, "Hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right. This guy has left for half the money, right, to Real Betis."
I know.
Now, Seville is a beautiful place to live. I would give anything to live there. It's 30 degrees all year round.
Yeah.
Beautiful women, lovely food, excellent architecture. But I wouldn't be playing football there if I had his ability. I would be like, hang on, I'd be ringing my agent and I'd be like, look, are we really doing this?
Yeah, what the fuck's going on?
What's going on? Because if Gareth Bale's going to China for $1 million, I mean, fuck it. I'd rather go to China and get paid.
Yeah, it's true.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true.
Like,
you don't go to Spain and play for Real Betis, do you, with that ability?
Well, no, you don't. I mean, later on in your career, you would, yeah.
Would I leave my job now to go and play for Real Betis? Absolutely. Of course I would. No disrespect to Real Betis.
Nabil, look.
But in that situation,
Nabil, if you do watch V&V, we don't speak French. In fact, we speak the language of love. That's our only other language. But please think twice about this, because you're too good to be there. Now, Lo Celso, who will be going to Spurs, because Fekir is his replacement. You watched Lo Celso play for Argentina. He did okay in the Copa America. He wasn't overly impressed. He had a very good season with Betis, so will Pochettino...
I'm not writing him off.
No, not at all.
Like, I haven't seen that much of him play. What I did see didn't really impress me, but that can happen. You can watch any given game of most players and they can have an off day, right?
Oh, that's very true. I mean, look, Pochettino sees something in him. If you're going to spend, give or take, the best part of 60 million on someone, because I think PSG are due a Katowice. He played for PSG before. Then, look, I mean, Spurs with Ndombele. I don't know an awful lot about Jack Clark, but Ndombele and Lo Celso, I identified in my transfer video that I did in January, and Becky identified in his transfer video that he did a few weeks ago, that Spurs need midfielders. They need central midfield quality. They're going to get that. The other place they needed quality was in the fullback area. Now, Kieran Trippier has gone to Atletico. Some say that's a great move for him. Others say it's a good move for Atletico. He did well at the World Cup. Yeah. Simeone sees something in him. Do you think that's a good move for Trippier?
It's not a bad move.
It's an upgrade from Real Betis.
Yeah, 100%. And, Atletico Madrid are a team. They're some team.
That they are.
And, they're obviously looking to try and rebuild defensively because they've had a few departures there. Trippier's not a bad place to start, It's a tricky one, though, because what are you going to rate Spurs? What are you rating their transfer window?
As it stands, if Lo Celso is confirmed, I would give them a 7 with Ndombele and Clark, because Ndombele is an absolutely magnificent football player who will grow into an even better football player. If they get Lo Celso and, by the way, Ryan Sessegnon, it could be confirmed by the end of the week. We're talking 8s and 9s then.
I would give them a 7, maybe a 6. I like Ndombele.
I'll meet you halfway and say 7. Right?
Yeah. I like Ndombele a lot.
Very good football.
A lot. And this great business. If they bring in Lo Celso, if he hits good form, then that could be a very good signing.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why I'm holding back on giving them high numbers is that they plug in a bit of an issue in midfield by making 2 good signings. And then we mentioned them potentially being weak in fullback, and they've let Trippier go, and there's talking about letting Danny Rose go as well.
Yeah, that's again true. Yeah,
which means that they've built up nicely in one area, and they now look weak in another area. Now, Sessegnon, if he comes in, then he's a talent, but he's very young. He didn't flourish that much for Fulham. There was a large part of the season where he didn't actually play.
Bro, you could have put Paolo Maldini in that Fulham defence. He would have had a fucking heart attack. They were awful.
I know, but the thing is that players of ability can still look like they've got talent.
He didn't do that bad though. He played further forward for.
Yeah,
for
I just think they could do better.
Fulham, I beg your pardon.
Well,
if we're talking, okay, you talk. Continue. You talk.
Yeah, so if you're gonna let Trippier go, who they got Aurier and who they've got
Kyle Walker-Peters.
Kyle Walker-Peters, right?
Or Kyle Walker Light, as I call him.
Yeah. So Aurier on his day, it can be a good player. Kyle Walker-Peters, I don't think he's up to the right level.
No, I don't.
They've got Ben Davis, left back.
Ben Davis is a decent replacement.
Yeah, I like Ben Davis.
He's not a bad player.
But if you're going to challenge on all the fronts that they are and try and get anywhere near to what they did last season, that's not enough. So is Sessegnon enough for me? I don't think so. Like a Ben Chilwell.
I tell you, if they get a Ben Chilwell, they won't. But for whatever reason, if they went to Leicester and said, you know what, we're throwing the bank at it. Here's 50 mil. That's a transfer window. Bro. Yeah. That's a transfer window.
It's an 8 or 9.
I'd agree. Okay,
yeah.
we'll meet halfway. We'll call it 7 for
with Spurs at the moment, because there could be more departures. Then it's a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Okay. No, that's cool. All right. So from one half of North London to the other half. Okay. Right. I don't know where to start with Arsenal. Honestly, I don't. Now I was
hoping we just wouldn't go over these ones.
I know. Shout out to Joe Rooks. Joe always listens. Joe works with me. Joe's a good lad.
Yeah.
And Joe's a big Southampton fan, and we always talk football. And we were talking about Arsenal and William Saliba. Now, as I described to Joe, I said that, Joe, Arsenal signing William Saliba is like needing a new kitchen but buying another flat screen TV. That's what it's like. It's a luxury signing, because your captain, your guy, right, your go-to guy in the dressing room has turned around and gone, fuck you, I don't want to play for you anymore, and fuck you again, right? He's refused to travel on tour. He's ripped up his passport and said, fuck you, I hate you, I'm not going, right? I don't know the whole Koscielny beef, by the way, as to why it's so intense with Arsenal and how it evolved that quickly, because it just went from love to hate in a matter of days. It evolved really quickly, which was strange. But anyway, William Saliba, Arsenal need an experienced centre-half. They need a quality centre-half. William Saliba has quality, but he's very young. Could be anything. He's 18. We don't know how he's going to develop. Arsenal, if they do get him, they're on about loaning him back to France. I don't see how you can spend potentially a third of your budget on an unproven 18-year-old and then just loan him back when you clearly have a gap to fill. I don't know. Again, he may turn out to be the next Raphael Varane, and if he does, God bless, he probably won't be at Arsenal long. But why would you buy an 18? Again, I know there's a shortage of centre halves, right? There's not a lot of great centre halves out there. But why would you buy an unproven 18-year-old for 30 million and then loan him back to France?
Well, you don't.
I don't get it.
No, you
I don't get it.
And
I don't get it.
And I understand the footballing decision and the business behind that, but your club is not in a situation where you can do that. They're in one of the most important periods of their recent history.
A huge transitional period.
Where they need to get it right, and they don't have a lot of money to play with, and you need to sign quality, proven players. Yeah?
I'm in total agreement.
And like you just said, why are you toying with the idea of wasting more, was it a third of their budget on someone you're not going to even have in your team? It depends on
what you read, right? Because there's the Tierney bid that they put in is 25 million, but again, it's a hypothetical 25 million in a sense that it's add-ons that are added on after it gets to a certain threshold. The rest are bonus-related payments. So the whole Tierney thing is Celtic going, well, A, these are not achievable, or B, they're not enough. So Celtic, again, Tierney hasn't gone anywhere, although I think it's safe to say he does want to join Arsenal. It would be a very good signing, right?
It would.
But again, that's 25 million, and then if you take Saliba, that's 55 million. And okay, they're not bad investments. I mean, we won't know what Saliba is for maybe another couple of years, right? But
the thing is, right, with the Tierney one as well, right, is that, and this is going to sound silly to say, but Celtic don't actually need the money in a way. So they're going to win the SPL next season. They're going to win countless trophies, and they're not going to get anywhere in the Champions League. That's just the Celtic cycle on repeat, right? Mm-hmm. Every once in a while they go through their best spell where they might, do okay in a Champions League group stage, or at the very best make the first knockout stage of Champions League. They don't do anything other than that, right? They win the Scottish Premiership, they win Scottish Cups, and that just goes on repeat. They're going to do that again this season. Neil Lennon, I think, is the current boss, and he has said that...
Is he? I'm losing my voice.
Yeah, I'm sure it's Neil Lennon.
How much talk on Neil Lennon being Celtic manager? Well, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Right.
Someone called an ambulance. Neil Lennon, Celtic manager still. Is he? I'm going to have to Google this, bro. I don't know. Who is Celtic manager?
Yeah, you have a look at that. So,
is he not the Hibs manager? Or am I mistaken?
I'm sure he went back to Celtic. But
maybe he did.
Said person for now has said for Celtic that they rate Kieran Tierney in the same sort of regard as Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
Oh, it is Neil Lennon. Shit, yeah, he did.
So he said he's come back. So,
he ain't in Wan-Bissaka's league, look.
No, but that's roughly where they view him, right? So what they're saying there is they're not going to let Tierney go for 25 million. So they're probably going to hold out. If he is going to let him go, maybe 35.
30 plus, yeah.
Right?
I agree.
And Arsenal they don't want to spend that money. And then there's a situation where they might be spending X amount of money on William Saliba and then loaning him back, and then they want Zaha. It's like, it doesn't fit. It's like a game of Tetris. It's just all cocked up all over the shop. Do you know what I mean?
I agree.
And it's like, just realise, if you don't have this much money, stop trying to entertain the fans with, we're going to try and sign this person and that person. Just spend 40-50 million on a centre-half. If you've only got 50 million, just spend it all on the top centre-half. Yes, we've established it's not easy, because there's not that many. Like a Ruben Diaz or someone like that, just spend 40-50 million on a top centre-half, right? The way I see it as an Arsenal fan, it's a win-win. Because it either comes off, and it's a masterstroke.
Yeah.
And it significantly improves your defence. Or, if it doesn't come off, Arsenal fans can't complain that they haven't tried within their best interest to solve the centre-half problem.
Okay, so moving forward, so can I got my voice back now? Yeah. Thank you for taking over there, because I was fucked. Right, so basically we have, I don't know how you pronounce his name. Everton, is it Suarez or...
Oh, yeah.
Is it, I don't know.
Suarez, yeah.
It is Suarez, yeah. Because I saw it and I was like, my pronunciations are never good on a good day. So I'm like, how the fuck do you pronounce this? All right, so Everton, we'll call him Suarez for now. Look, just call him Everton if you want, whatever. It's up to you. But they're on about him joining Arsenal. Now, again... I don't understand that because he's a striker, right? And it says Arsenal are closing in on his signing. You already have Lacazette, you have Aubameyang, you have I can't pronounce my man's name, Nketiah, the young lad. He scored 2 against Fiorentina the other day. Reece Nelson is there as well.
Yeah.
So again, it seems like a very unnecessary signing. Another Zaha bid went in, I think yesterday or today, for around 65 million plus Reece Nelson on loan, and Palace I think turned that down from what I gather because they want more.
Baffles me.
I don't get Arsenal's transfer. I don't get their vision. I don't know what the.
You know, you said like you need a new kitchen. You just bought another flat screen TV. With Arsenal, that's a great example. With Arsenal, it seems to be even worse. It's like they've got a burst pipe.
Yeah.
And it's leaking all over the motherfucking house.
Yeah.
And they need an entire new bathroom and they're still buying flat screen TVs.
Well, do you know, if you could describe Arsenal as a club, I'd call them a burst pipe.
Yeah.
That's how I would describe Arsenal, because I don't know what's going on. Burst pipe FC. I do not understand who controls things at Arsenal to the point where they go, oh, we really need Zaha and Everton Suarez in the same team, and it's like, well, okay, where do you put Mesut Ozil then? Is he going to be on the bench all season?
And Lacazette
and Reece Nelson, who's a very good young player.
And Mkhitaryan. And we have options.
There's plenty of options there already. What do you need?
It's as if like your pipe has burst and your whole house is flooded and you're just going,
fuck it.
What the fuck do we do?
Let's go to Argos and buy a blender.
Let's go to Curry's.
Yeah, let's buy a blender. Well,
that
that's
is
exactly
Arsenal.
what we need.
That their new name is Burst Pipe FC.
Yeah, Burst Pipe.
Burst Pipe what?
I'm gonna choke it down.
While you're choking, I'm going to go ahead and give them a 2.
That's very generous.
It's generous.
They've signed Martinelli, who could who's an 18-year-old Brazilian striker who could be absolutely anything. He could be Ronaldo. He could be Bebe, right? Like, I know Bebe's Portuguese, but it's the same horse, isn't it? So fucking.
And it's like, if they had, if at the beginning of the window Arsenal had gone, yeah, we really need a centre half and probably a full back and maybe someone in midfield, and we could maybe add someone up front. Someone could have said, hey, Reece Nelson's coming back.
Yeah,
he'll give us something.
I wonder if Emery knew who Reece Nelson was, because I don't think he did. He's gone to the board and he's gone, right, we need this, and they've gone, do you know who Reece Nelson is? And he's gone, who?
I know. If I'm Reece Nelson coming back, I'm thinking, I could try and see if I can get into the next year. And you turn up and they're going, yeah, we really want to sign Zaha and just give you to someone else.
Yeah, I don't get that. I'll give them a 1, because purely based on the fact that they've signed an unknown 18-year-old. They're trying to sign another Brazilian striker. Why you need 2 Brazilian strikers in a transfer window, I don't know, when you already have 2 very good strikers. Mm-hmm. Arsenal. I'm gonna go with 1. You can give them a 2 if you want. Okay.
Just a generous 2.
Yes, it's very generous 2. Okay, right. So from Burst Pipe FC to Ed Woodward FC. Now, I'll be very brief, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to grade United as I'm going to grade them as a 4, purely on the basis that Ole Solskjaer said the following: there will be a mass clear out at Manchester United. Some of these players will never play for this club again. I seen all of those motherfuckers on pre-season. I saw Matteo Darmian in the press. He's quite comfortable to see out the last year of his contract.
Yeah.
Marcus Rojo is out doing sprints. Ashley Young is loving the sun right down under. You got fucking Chris Jones and Phil Jones has dyed his hair. Chris Jones, Mike Smalling. Phil Jones is like, yeah, I'm going anywhere.
Yeah.
Do you mean he's got a fresh trim? He's got that fucking Ziggy Stardust look going on. He's loving life.
And arguably, the 2 that they've allowed to leave, Valencia and Herrera.
Valencia, correctly so.
Yeah.
Herrera should not have gone, but I mean, Herrera, smart move from him. He's played the game well. He's earned his stupid money.
Of all the players that we could have let go, he would have been towards the bottom end of the list of players we're going to let leave. You can give him a 4, yeah?
I'm going to give him a 4, purely on the basis that I think Wan-Bissaka is a terrific signing. Daniel James could amount to absolutely anything. Now, bear in mind, he's done okay in pre-season, but he is against Perth Glory, so I'm not rating that highly. When the big games start to come around, that's when I will judge him and we'll see how far he's come. The issue I have is this, right? Again, I don't have a problem with United spending money, because it's not my money. Do what you want with it. I would rather that money was spent than went to some fat guy in Florida, right, who buys Asian hookers on his weekend, right? I don't understand why Ed Woodward is going so hard for Harry Maguire. Because last season, Ed Woodward overruled Jose Mourinho. And he said, I don't want Harry Maguire on this side. And Jose Mourinho was like, last time I checked, I was coach. And Ed Woodward was like, no, I run things around here. So Ed Woodward said, we are not bidding £75 million for Harry Maguire because we don't rate him. Jose Mourinho was like, I'll grab my coat and I'll leave. Thank you for your time here. Mm-hmm. Ed Woodward this summer has done a complete U-turn. Yeah. And it's gone, Harry Maguire has to be the world's most expensive defender. I'd love to know where he got that from.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. It is an interesting one. I would give them a 5.
Okay, I mean, I could go as high as a 5, but I won't.
I give them a 5 because, like you touched upon, I love the Wan-Bissaka signing.
Great signing.
Again, they played Perth Glory, then they played Leeds United, and then they played Inter Milan. Now, the level of opposition has stepped up slightly each time there. They haven't played any big sides yet, and yes, it is pre-season. But of all the highlights and games that I've seen, Wan-Bissaka has looked a monster in every game.
Yeah, he has. He really has.
And it could be a sign of things to come. And he seems to be playing exactly like he did at Crystal Palace. He doesn't give up anything. He just looks quick. He looks eager. He's
very
hungry.
Agile as well. I didn't realise how agile
disciplined as well.
was. Yeah.
And he's just a joy to watch at the moment, right? So I think that he could turn out to be a brilliant signing.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said with Dan James, that one, we'll have to wait and see, because he's got pace to burn, and depending on the situation on the pitch, and like I said to you before the episode, if Pogba's picking up that ball and you're counter-attacking, if you're a full-back or centre-half, you do not want Dan James running at you. So
my only concern, though, right, going back to what you're saying there, is that teams will work him out very easily because he's a speed merchant. I don't know if he has the technique to play at the highest level.
Yeah, but at the same time, speed kills.
Speed kills, it does.
And he's got better players around him.
That is true also. But when I watch Wales play Croatia, right, Croatia were very disciplined. And they kind of shut out the space for Dan James. They're not dumb. A lot of these top sides, they're very intricate in the way they play. When they analyse the opposition, they will look at a Dan James and go, don't leave any space behind. Very similar to what Jose Mourinho did when Manchester United played Liverpool, and he made Ashley Young. Ashley Young was almost in row Y, right? He was so deep on the pitch, and Liverpool could not get in behind him.
Yeah.
And I just look at Dan James and I think, when away sides come to Old Trafford, they tend to sit in anyway. But with him in the pitch, they're not going to give him an inch, right? So does he have that quality to then work around that and go, okay, let me beat you another way? That's what I'm interested in.
Yeah, that's the word. There's intrigue, there's interest, because I watch parts of his game and I think he could do something. The main word there is
there's ability there.
Yeah.
There's ability.
So I'm not disappointed with that signing at all. And like I've said to you before, it wasn't a lot of money. So if it doesn't come off, it's no big deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one very good signing, one potentially good signing.
Okay.
Now, again, it's very much like a Spurs situation, depending on who they sign within the coming weeks, because the Maguire talk and the Fernandes talk.
Maguire and Fernandes, these are the longest fucking flights any player has ever been on.
Oh.
Harry Maguire must be stuck in a departure lounge, right? Because he's been... The Sun, when they put it out, they were the only people that put it out, that Maguire was having a medical. And I was scrolling through Twitter and I was like, why is no one else saying this? Yeah, this doesn't make any sense to me. And it's clearly... clickbait, right?
Yeah.
And then Bleacher Report yesterday have said Maguire is imminent, and the internet exploded. They're like, Maguire's coming.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, he isn't. Until it's properly announced, everybody just chill out.
That's true. Question for you: if United were to go on and sign Harry Maguire and Fernandes within the next coming weeks, what would you then rate their transfer window then?
I give an 8.
I give it an 8.
I give it an 8. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say 7 or 8 because they would have at that point then addressed a lot of issues. Not all of them.
Yeah, I like Fernandes, but I get the impression United aren't going to sign him because he's very easily accessible unless they leave it to the last minute, which I don't know why they would. I don't know why they haven't picked him up already.
They are still assessing other options, but you can normally tell how legit a transfer is or how legit the rumours are to being true by how much you start to see building up on Twitter and by the certain agents that you follow and the in the knows.
Shout out the in the knows as well, you wankers.
Certain ones. And I'm seeing a lot more now about Fernandes and Maguire. And,
there's no smoke without fire.
Exactly.
So yeah.
And there are cases where that can come to nothing. But normally you start to see as much as that as I'm noticing, it does often come through. So if they were to sign those two players, I would give them, an 8. So it's a 5 at the moment, potential to be an 8.
Fernandes offers something different to that midfield. Very Frank Lampard-ish in the way he plays in terms of breaking into the box, scoring goals. Something United need.
Yeah.
My only doubt about Maguire, as I said to you again before we came on, because we were discussing this earlier, is that him and Lindelof together, there is not an awful lot of pace. And for some reason, Solskjaer has it in his head that he wants his team to do a high press and play a high line. If you are on the halfway line and your two centre-halves are Lindelof and Maguire on the turn, it's a problem.
It's a weird one because neither of them are quick, but neither of them are slow. If that makes sense.
That's true, but there's the top level of players like a Dan James. There are other players like that who are rapid. Like even a Jamie Vardy, he's getting on, bro. He would still gas the two of them. That is my main concern. But Maguire brings other qualities.
Yeah.
Playing the ball at the back, leadership in the air.
You said before, is he a significant upgrade on Jones and Smalling? Yes, he is. So I've always had an issue with the price. But like many people said, it isn't actually my money. It's more the expectation that would come with it.
Yeah,
more than anything.
Huge expectation.
But it isn't my money, so I'm not, not bothered of the amount in that sense. It's just the weight of the price tag.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we get those two, then it's decent business.
Yeah, totally agree. I think United, if they can get them, it'll be okay. But
last thing United actually, Pogba situation.
He ain't going anywhere now.
He seems
too late in the day.
You look at players like Koscielny and others that have made a song and dance with the toys at the Prem. To Pogba's credit, he has shut up and got on with it. And
which makes a change.
Yeah, which he hasn't made much noise. He's looked pretty decent in pre-season. I think it's safe to say that he's not going anywhere now.
Yeah, purely on the basis that there's 2 weeks left, give or take. United cannot replace Paul Pogba in that time. So the only one they could replace is Lukaku. Do you think he'll go?
I think that's up to Inter Milan. If
put up or shut up.
It doesn't seem to be anybody else in for him who's that interested.
Which is weird, isn't it? When you think.
Yeah, I mean, I think he would suit a lot of clubs, but if people just don't fancy taking a punt. It's a
big amount of money.
If Inter Milan are going to offer 54 million and that's it, and he ain't going anywhere.
This is I did a bit of research again because I've had a bit of spare time.
Mm-hmm, of course.
And I was working out how transfer fees work alongside player contracts, right? So, let's say, for example, Manchester United sign a player for 50 million and they give that player a 5-year contract. That 50 million is based on instalments as per the contract. So, it's basically 50 divided by 5. So, United would pay the selling club 10 million a year. That's how contracts work. So, if you buy someone for 120 million and you go, okay, it's a 3-year contract, give 40 million a year, so that's how the payments work. Inter's one was weird. They were like, okay, we'll pay you 12 now, and we'll pay you 6 year, and then we'll pay you, X amount year. And I was like, and there's an option to buy, and I was like, this whole option to buy thing is bizarre. Like, either buy him or don't. Like, I'm not really.
Stinks of a club that's still in a bit of financial mess as well, doesn't it? It
stinks of a club that when you come knocking for one of their players, they're going to bend you over a barrel. But when the role is reversed, it's like cap in hand, like, oh, could you please give us something for cheap, sir?
It's a rare situation where I actually am pleased with how United are dealing with something.
That's the one thing I'll say, is Ed Woodward didn't budge, and I like that.
Yeah.
On that, but he's still a twat.
Yeah, he's still a twat. Like, we don't need the money. Yeah. And, if there's people saying, next year if he goes, he'll go for less. Yeah, so what? United don't need the money. It's about time they played hardball.
Yeah.
And if the window closes and he stays a United player, know that he can get him on side. If he's going to be looking for a move next season, he still needs to play.
Yeah.
So he's a decent option to have.
Okay, cool. I know you wanted to bring up the pre-season results thus far. Not that they're a massive barometer of anything, but it's just to go over who's done what and how everything's coming along. Mm-hmm. Who do you want to start with, bro?
We'll get United out of the way. Obviously, we've touched on a bit of that anyway. Yeah. 3 wins from 3. I said the level of opposition increased each game. The game versus Perth Glory, there was nothing to. I think it was actually 2-0. They won in that one. It was at Greenwood and somebody else scored. No, not Greenwood, sorry, it was
Martial.
Yes. So it was 2-0 win against Leeds United. Another level up again. Comfortably came through that one. The one that if any of the 3 has impressed me a little bit is the Inter match. The youngsters seemed comfortable against a good Inter Milan side. Great goal by Greenwood as well. So he looks a little bit of a prospect, and there's every chance he could actually start the Chelsea game, and he could start games.
It'd be interesting to see that actually. Yeah.
And it would be really refreshing to see like a front 3 of like a Greenwood, Rashford, Martial, or James, Greenwood, Rashford. It's me this time.
Well.
Front 3 of James, Rashford, and Greenwood, or a mixture of those would be quite refreshing to see, wouldn't it?
Do you know what? It would be interesting.
That's just endless young talent. Chelsea kind of have not done as well. Frank Lampard has got the ideal start. So they drew with Bohemians, which is an Irish side.
They are indeed, yeah, an Irish side.
And they won 4-0 versus St. Patrick's.
Another Irish side.
Which you'd expect them to beat. And then they lost 1-0 to Kawasaki Frontal.
I did see Lampard out trending on Twitter a little bit.
Obviously, it's very dramatic.
I think it's probably other fans just bantering in it. But.
Now, pre-season, as we've said, can mean absolutely nothing. But if you can, you want to go through pre-season with good results. It's a sort of a situation where you get to test out a few things. So it hasn't looked fantastic for Chelsea so far, but they've still got time to get it right.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Then we move on to Liverpool. Again, 2 losses from 3. They beat Bradford as you'd expect. They then lost to Dortmund, and they've lost recently to Sevilla as well. 2 decent sides. Sides you would still expect Liverpool to beat, but then they have got, I think, Mane's been the African Cup of Nations, so Salah, some big players missing there, but
not the end of the world.
Not the end of the world, but not ideal preparation.
Okay.
Chelsea, I can only see the last 2 games.
City, sorry.
Or City, rather.
Yeah.
City, they beat West Ham 4-1, and then they lost the Asia Trophy.
I heard something along those lines.
Rui Patricio had an absolute wonder game.
I didn't see
Spider-Man.
I didn't see it.
They just some unbelievable saves, and then they went to penalties and they lost 3-2. So there's City, Liverpool, and Chelsea. They've lost a few games between them.
They'll be alright come the start of the season. I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, I don't read too much into that, but it's just nice to sort of go over some results, see how people are getting on.
Yeah. All right.
I haven't looked at Arsenal because I just don't want to look at Arsenal.
Burst Pipe FC. We ain't looking at you.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. The bottom of your screen is just a few transfer bits and pieces as well. Will they stay or will they go? Okay, in one word, I'll call these out for you. Stay or go, Lukaku?
Stay.
Okay. Pogba?
Stay.
Okay, Neymar?
Go.
I'm in agreement for all 3 so far. Wilfred Zaha?
Will stay at Palace or go to Arsenal?
Where's he going? Where's he going, bro?
Stay.
Oh my god, my heart says he wants to go to Bayern. I want him to go to Bayern, but he won't go to Bayern. He'll stay. Gareth Bale,
go.
Enjoy China, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, Harry Maguire,
go.
Alderweireld, his clause, by the way, runs out Thursday, the 25 million clause.
Yeah, I don't understand why United.
I cannot understand why no one has picked him up. Arsenal aren't picking him up. Not a Spurs player.
Was it 25 mil?
25 mil?
For Alderweireld.
25 million people for Toby.
Brilliant. But I think he'll stay because he's come out and said that he thinks he's going to stay.
Yeah, he played such a prominent role last season towards the end with Spurs that I think that settled the whole rumour mill. I could see him playing for Liverpool. I think he'd be a great signing alongside Van Dijk. I think he'd be a great signing for United.
It's a bit late in the day as well. If they'd have let him go, then who are they replacing him with?
Yeah, okay, cool. Right, so that's us done for this week. We will be back next week. We'll hopefully have some other profile videos along the way. We're in the process of updating production too. As you can see, lighting. Wow, look at all this amazing light. Apologies about the last video as well, because the lighting was really bad.
Darkness.
Oh, shit, that guy, man. I know he's watching. Shout out to Reese as well. Yeah, no, the lighting was really bad. So we are going to be working on updating the production side of things. Hopefully we'll have a few guests when the production side of things is updated. There'll be plenty more videos from me and Becky doing the whole voiceover situation. There'll be more in-profile ones. We'll be touching upon a few controversial topics, maybe.
Yes, that's a word.
We'll throw a couple in the mix.
Yeah.
But anyway, add us up on the social media platforms. We will be back next week. Until next time, people, take care. And again, thank you very much for watching. Until next time, ciao.